What's up, y'all? I am driving. I'm on my way to record my podcast. But I've been wanting to talk about this since I saw it last month when it came out. And I put it on Twitter, like, is it too late for me to talk about this? Or should I still post my review? And people were like, post the review. So that's what I'm doing. Shiny Happy People. It is, I believe it's on Amazon Prime. It's a documentary about the Duggars and the whole 19 kids, which I feel like ended at 22 kids and counting. You let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, but it was a phenomenon when I was growing up. I was definitely obsessed with the show for a little while. It was just interesting and very voyeuristic, if that's the correct word. I feel like it is, for normal people to watch these fundamentalist Christians and how they were living, especially for a person like me who grew up in a super religious home, but like black religious home, non-denominational Southern Baptist type vibe church, you know. So seeing these white people that were super duper about Jesus was like, oh, so interesting, but they were doing it in such an odd way. And it's very similar to the Amish, right? And I feel like when you grow up religious, like a religious black person, at least for me, I'm very intrigued by the other religions of people and how just like culty stuff, fundamentalist stuff, it just it has me in a chokehold, right? I'm all about it. I've been obsessed with the Amish since I was young and first learned about the Amish people. So this Duggars, Bob Duggar and them, Jim Bob, they really captivated me, especially young Tam. So this documentary though, and I feel like when you grow up, even young, when I'm seeing that, I knew something was wrong. Like, I definitely knew something was up, something was afoot, something was amiss. But they seem exactly like the title, like shiny, happy people. So you just can't put your finger on it, but you know something is awry. And there definitely was, right? So it starts off the documentary very innocently. Jim Bob grows up religious, kind of strict, but not nearly as strict as he made it for his own kids, but kind of strict. And he goes to this conference, Bill Gothard, with his homeboy, and they are forever changed, right? They're captivated. They're like, all right, I want to join this man's program. And I think it's called IBLP, Institute for Basic Life Principles. And it's just basically telling you, using the Bible and using God to make your life the best it could be. So I think it especially, like all cult stuff, seeks out and speaks to people that maybe have a hard family life, or things aren't going the best, or just people that are searching. I think that's the best way I can say it. Those kind of people are hooked in by this. Like, oh, this is a way that you can just live a good life and everything is peaceful, you can have a nice family and blah, 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 blah. Like, all their life's problems would be solved if they just live this way. And it's giving them a whole system to follow. And I feel like a lot of people look for that, seek that when you don't have a lot of structure when you're growing up, or anything is going wrong in your family and things just aren't as maybe how you feel like they should be. This kind of stuff, it appeals to you. You get roped in easily, hook, line, and sinker. So that's what happened to Jim Bob and his friend. They're both all about this now. So much so that they want to proselytize to other people. That is always where you go wrong, in my opinion. When you feel that urge to spread that word, you know you're in too deep, and that's on Jehovah's Witness. So they go to school now, proselytizing, and somebody is like, oh yeah, there's this girl, Michelle, she recently became a Christian. They're like, we should go talk to her. And Jim Bob, yes, let's go save these souls, marching in the army of the Lord, all right? So Michelle, I believe, is 17 at the time. He go talk to her, ask her to the dance. They go to the dance, they end up talking all night about Jesus, the word of Jesus. And Jim Bob, he sells her. She's in. Not too long after that, 17, 19, they're getting married. And Michelle, because that's not appropriate age to be married, she has to get permission from her parents. But they agree. It's back in those times where people get married and have kids when they're 17 and a half anyway, so it wasn't no big deal. And Jim Bob's not like he was super older than her. They get married. Shortly after they get married, they have a baby. Joshua, I think, is the first kid. Then Michelle get on birth control because times is hard, right? They're broke. They're trying to figure it out. They're newlyweds. Like, we don't need another baby. But then she gets pregnant again. She miscarries, and the doctor wrongly tells her that, oh yeah, you know, you were pregnant, but birth control can sometimes cause miscarriages and etc. So they have this sad moment, like, oh, they killed their baby, basically. And that's how they're putting it. They're on stage, they're giving their testimony at church. And this is footage from their Bill Gothard IBLP church when they're giving this testimony. So Michelle's like, yeah, we just feel so bad we this for our baby, and we prayed, and we told Jesus, we would leave it in his hands. And that's when they became, in my opinion, the quiverful movement. They crossed over to that quiverful bag. Because you cannot be on birth control and still have ways, if you know, to not be pregnant. You could try at least. They wasn't trying. So right after that, they get pregnant with twins. And they felt like, they were blessed by God. And this is how people end up fucking up their whole lives, because they take little random things and events as signs and reasons. Oh, goodness. To just justify a whole bunch of other bullshit. And that's what happens here, essentially. They have the twins. They start popping out another kid basically every calendar year, every 18 months, it's a new baby. Like, girl, come on now. What about your uterus? What about your back? What about your vagina? Like, be serious, Michelle. Michelle's family not with it. I don't think Jim Bob's family is really with it either, because his sister is more so normal. She felt like she grew up too strict religious, and she wanted her kid, she only had one kid, her daughter, she wanted her daughter to have a regular life, like be a cheerleader, have fun, do the stuff she couldn't do. Jim Bob, total opposite way. Popping out kids after kids after kids. And now, of course, that puts a struggle in place. You're already not that rich, like, you're already barely making it. Now you got all these kids, you're poor. You basically live in abject poverty. But you are doing it in a way, Amish style, covering it up. So, alright. Then he runs for local office. Jim Bob, hustling. He got like 3-4 jobs. But he is politicized in 1997 when there was this abortion march or something like that. And the vote went the opposite way of what he felt like was right. So he was like, I have to get involved. And he runs for local government in Arkansas. I think that's where they're from. He said, God put it on my heart to get involved. And then he ends up running for Arkansas state Republican representative. And it's cool with like Mike Huckabee Sanders and all this stuff. His son is running around in the halls of government. They're calling him the little governor or something like that. Joshua, the oldest one. And they thought he would have a political career. It was going well for Jim Bob at the time. And it was right in that, I feel like, Bush era America, where like the public was leaning so much that way, or was feeling like that way was maybe a better way to live, like being more religious. Like the religious right, to me, that's when they were in their bag popularity. Like post-Reagan, they were in that bag. Jim Bob runs twice. He's elected twice. His kids are super involved. His son starts this Christian outreach group called Boycott because a local store was selling like corn magazines, Hugh Hefner and them. Just weirdos, child. Like, repressed. And I always think that people that are super duper religious or super duper staunch into one direction or the other, it's for a reason. Like, they've either done something wrong or they have leanings. There's something inside them that's making them be so outwardly against this thing. Like, if you're there's no way to me that something that you're so against and vehemently like hate is on your mind all the time. Come on now. It's just not. Like, I don't necessarily enjoy crazy reality TV, like the dating shows and all the housewives and stuff. Like, I watch the clips like everybody else on social media. I think it's funny, but I'm not like wrapped up in it, and I want to watch the seasons and I want to watch the reunions and all that. I don't care. But I'm not online all day speaking out against it, I don't care about it. Therefore, it does not exist to me. When I come in contact with it, I come in contact with it. Okay, I'm not swayed either way. But this is what I mean. Like, the people that are just day and night against something, they probably want to do it. And that's what was going on with Josh. I hate to just equate it so simply to that, but I feel like that's really what's going on. And these IBLP people, it's an environment that breeds predators, because you're teaching people, specifically girls, that anything that happens to them is basically their own fault, and that if you are to face any suffering, it's to bring you closer to God, and God is going to reward you. You're going to get your reward in heaven, just like the slavery shit that they did with black people. We're going to beat the hell out of you today. Tomorrow you have everlasting joy and peace and riches. Just paid with gold in heaven. You're going to be poor as hell while you're here, though. Like, that kind of rhetoric, but in white women, they're doing it to them. And then prohibition against gossiping. You're not supposed to speak out against anything, talking about problems and stuff. You can't do. So it's a culture of silence, basically. And they use all of these clever tactics. It's like it's built in. It's like somebody thought about it in a very insidious way. Like, okay, if we just sprinkle it in, you know, we can use it in this way, and it'll be extremely effective because it's roped in with God. Like, all these things, being obedient to your husband, being obedient to the male figure in your home, your brothers, showing deference is tantamount to showing deference to God. Like, no, it's not. Oh, God speaks directly to the leader of your home. What if the leader of my home ain't shit? Like, all men, the IBLP and a lot of these fundamentalist Christian religions are like perfect world situations. All of the men are not perfect. All of the men are not leaders. All of the men are not, you know, without sin. So how can you put it in a family situation that this person is the end all be all? That doesn't make sense. God is the only end all be all. That's where y'all lose me. Because if you empower both parents, if you empower the man and the woman on equal levels, but like that they have to work together, and use God in that same fire and brimstone way that you do with the whole disobedience and not listening to the man, it's like, y'all need to work together. By hell or high water, y'all need to work together, and y'all need to be doing everything in your power to stay together and to be a team and to decide everything and do everything that's best for your family and protect your family and be successful. That's what you should be doing the fear of God for. But y'all don't, because patriarchy. And it's really just about sex and keeping women in check. It's not really about nothing else. It's so crazy how y'all play these people. But yeah, so it just is. It's a ripe picking for a predator, and that's exactly what happens. And then the repression, the girls dressing like a Little House on the Prairie, not being able to touch, hold hands, date, nothing. You got a court in the presence of your family members and all this weird shit, like almost borderline arranged marriage. Is pervy. And also, as a girl, that my dad has all daughters. My dad has never once cared about sex, who we were having sex with, what age we were having sex. My dad really gave us just player ass advice about how to deal with men and how to kind of, you know, bob and weave and try to not get your feelings hurt. But he was never like, oh, you can't have a boyfriend, you're too young, and why are you talking to him? So I've always looked at that because of how, I guess, chill, you know, laissez-faire my dad is about it. Like, fathers that are overzealous about that, like, are you kind of creepy with your daughter? Like, do you love your daughter? Why are you so concerned about her sex life? You can never have sex with her. So why do you care? Why are you being so weird about it, you know? Just odd. And the Duggar house, Joshua in there touching, feeling on his sisters, doing shit to them against their will. And then because of the religion, the whole culture of silence, the parents know about it. And they're like, shh, don't tell nobody. You know? It's your job to help your brother control these urges type shit. And we need to forgive him. He doesn't know what... He knows what's going on. You got so many damn kids in here, you don't feel connected to nobody. They're just people in here because this house is full of them. It's weird. And then y'all sent him to the IBLP little program, like their little military school reform program. And that's all just more fundamentalist Christian weirdo stuff. It's probably reinforcing his ideas about what he did, like that he was just wrong to do it to them. He needs to hurry up and get a wife. And y'all try to pawn him off on Jim Bob's best friend's daughter. But she started noticing some weird stuff. And I guess she's talking to the parents, or the parents start to notice weird stuff. So they bring it up to them, and they're basically like, yeah, like, we know, but we're just keeping it in the family. And, you know, like, once he marries your daughter, it won't be a problem type. They're like, oh, hell no. What do you mean y'all know? Like, you're not going to get no help for the daughter? You're not call the police? No, like, we're not going to do that because, you know, we handle things in-house. And that's our way. You know, our way. IBOP way. Gang, gang. They're not with it. Rightfully so. And they feel bad for the daughters. But they didn't feel like they could speak up because, again, they're in the church, the culture of silence. It's just sad. The girls are living with this. Who knows if he's still doing it? And then later on, so he does end up finding an unsuspecting bride. He gets married. And a couple years later, it comes out that he got a whole bunch of child porn on his laptop, on his work, because he has like a little rinky-dink car salesman place. And he got a bunch of illegal stuff on his computer. And when the people come, FBI, he don't even really act that confused. Like, at first he's trying to say it wasn't him and other people had access to the computer and all that, but it was you, bro. So, and he had like Ashley Madison account So it's just you cannot sexually repress people. It doesn't make sense, men or women. You create worse people, and then you exacerbate the situation, and they develop behaviors that are dangerous to everybody around. You basically create monsters, all because you want to live in this Bible times utopia that didn't even exist back then. It's very, very ridiculous. And it's even sadder that these girls have to grow up with that and be forced to be silent, and then you're picking their boyfriends and their husbands and stuff going forward, and they just go from your house to their house, and they never really get time to heal or to even talk about it, and it's all happening in the public. And what's even crazier, abuse is never okay, but what's crazier than that is, do you know all these kids is not getting paid? So you're growing up on the show, they're telling all your business. You getting roped into this SA situation. Ain't nothing being done. Your wedding, your childbirth, all that is on TV, and you are not getting paid. So then the one, I think it's Jessa, the oldest one. It takes for her to get married, to have a baby, and move away from the family. I think they went to Chile or something, like on a mission. You know how the like the Latter-day Saints do it. And she's dead broke. And they're asking her, she needs to come back to have that baby on the show, blah, blah, blah. And she's off it, and they don't want to do it. Her and her husband are disagreeing. So finally, they kind of put in the feet to the fire a little bit, like, so how much is this worth to y'all? Like, what? Because, we're doing our own thing out here. Y'all don't help us. We're not engaged in any type of contracts that we know of with y'all. Like, why are you pressing so hard about this? Jim Bob not letting up. And he's just like, we can give you minimum wage an hour. Like, and I'm glad that she had this husband who, he seems kind of meek and mild. I'm not going to call him a punk, but he's a little meek and mild. But he's still like, minimum wage. Like, y'all on TV, everybody knows we go out to the store, we at the Walmart, everybody know her. We get minimum wage. Like, how much are we getting paid? So it prompts her, the daughter, to do a little investigation, and she reaches out to TLC like, I didn't sign anything, so I don't understand. Like, y'all trying to say I have to come up contractually obligated. No, I'm not. And I'm like, baby, yes, you are. Look here. And then she remembers when her dad was just passing out these contracts in the kitchen or whatever, everybody was just signing. Shady with your own kids. So they're on TV for years. And they said they're getting like upwards of $25,000 or more per episode. And ain't none of the kids getting paid. No Coogan accounts. No nothing, because it's not the same as having child actors on reality TV. That blew my mind. Like, what are you saying? So he's hustling his whole family. And then because the whole religion thing, he's the head of the house. In the name of God, according to them, he's supposed to be in charge of the money. That is some shit. To the point where Jessa and her husband, they got this baby now, and then they did go back because they were contractually obligated. She did have to have her baby on TV, even though she didn't really want to do it. They're living off of food banks, and they're poor, all types of shit, and the daddy got money. Tell me how this makes sense. Then when the stuff came out about the brother, the whole investigation, they're kind of going on TV and stuff, speaking out against it. Like, no, this is not true. No, we don't know anything about this. Then when it comes out and they have the evidence, they put the sisters on the press tour, basically apologizing for him. Like, he didn't mean it, and, we accept and we forgive, and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, hell no. Hell no. They got you on the apology tour for your abuser, so he can get a lighter sentence or something. The wife is in peril. She can't do nothing. She can't leave. They got 99 kids. She probably pregnant during the trial. Like, just too much. All of the women not cared for, not looked out for, not being protected. And like, for you to base your whole religion on those things, and like, that's why they can't do nothing. That's why they can't pick their boyfriend. And that's why they got to dress like they're on a farm in the 18th century. And they're still lambs to the slaughter. Like, you're not looking out for them. They're not any better off than they would be if they was wearing crop tops and mini skirts, especially not around y'all. Blew my mind. And then the saddest part about the whole thing is that the girl is not even really comfortable still speaking out against her family. Like, she still has a certain level of loyalty and that religious, like, PTSD. Like, it's definitely giving abused and battered domestic violence. That's definitely what it gives. And she don't want to say anything. She doesn't want to say, like, her dad is a scammer and her mom is going along with it. Her mom is not too much better because she in on it. And they all know better because they weren't raised like that. Like, Jim Bob's sister is totally against all of it. She could not believe when she found out that the girls was getting abused. Like, oh, hell no. Just like the friends stopped being cool with him, she was kind of like, mm-mm. And her daughter was on the show. I remember her too. She was the more normal one. And she was the cousin that was like from the outside world, but she just loved her family. And even she is shocked to find out all of this stuff. Blew my mind. So then it even got deeper because they're basically, this thing is a cult. IBOP is a cult. And Bill Gothard giving all this advice about how to raise a family and what to do and how to be a husband, how to be a wife and all this. And he is not nobody's husband. He is not nobody's father. Deep. The whole thing is just rabbit hole. After I watched Shiny Happy People, I went onto YouTube because, like I told y'all, I'm kind of obsessed with cults. And I watched more stuff about this, like more survivors that were talking about it. It was really crazy. So as this one girl said on a YouTube that I watched, she said, oh, Shiny Happy People was like the PG-13 version of an R-rated movie. Like, they did not get deep on the abuse and what's really going on at all with Bill Gothard. He's hand-selecting these people. They're making all this money, hundreds of millions of dollars. They're in deep with the government, trying to push that Republican, right-wing, Christian, don't let the gays get married, don't have the Bible in school, like that real old-fashioned Americana, that storybook Americana that they want to believe is real. Bill is hand-selecting girls as a secretary, this and that, and touching on them, filling them up, so much so that they do a class action. They don't win the class action, they throw it out because it's like, it's too much going on. They can't really get everybody to speak up the way they need. It's not enough witnesses. The time has gone by. Of course, Bill Gothard old as hell. Of course, he has all these people to speak up for him, and he's like well connected in the country, in the halls of power. Just sad the way he was using these people, the most unsuspecting, innocent people. And the craziest part about the cult thing is, like I said at the beginning, the victims are the perfect people for the crime. I have never ever seen a situation that is more just set up as easy as possible for the person to win. It's like a layup situation because you have all these broken people, all these people that are searching, all these people that feel like they need something, they need some type of guidance, and you're the person there guiding them to your own means, to the detriment of themselves, but they'll never notice it because they were living to the detriment of themselves before. So even abuse and stuff like that, they would have to get all the way out, all the way deprogrammed, and it would be years later that they even realized that you were doing something wrong to them because so much wrong had already occurred. Insane. Like when pimps get the foster children, it's the same thing with the cults. They get the broken people, they get the broken families. And what's even more insane is that these people let them do shit to their kids. How? This is your kid. How you gonna let somebody that never had no kids, no grandkids, he's not a good uncle, like, and you are taking his advice hook, line, and sinker about how you should raise your family and how you need to treat your wife and how your kids are supposed to behave, and using capital punishment on babies. When the girl, I didn't even think about it when Michelle was talking about it because her little voice, and that's what scares me about white women. I'm not gonna lie to you. That, oh, everything is fine and our family is so beautiful and we love Jesus, and it's so hard for you to see around that and hear around that they can just say some evil shit to you and you won't, like, it could take you weeks, it could take you days to really figure out, like, wait a minute now, what she said was horrible. Michelle was talking about blanket training her baby. Like, okay, you get a baby, toddler age, and you put their favorite toy on the outside of the blanket, and you put the baby on the blanket, or vice versa, I don't remember. But anyways, and anytime they reach for the toy, you pop them, and you do that over and over again until they learn that they need to ask permission. My mind is blown. Like, you're doing child abuse on a baby. Of course it's making them behave. And that's what they used to say, like, oh, on 19 Kids Accounting, oh, they have all these kids and they're so well behaved and they're so nice and everybody's so perfect. Like, duh, because they in military style training. Shit is crazy, man. It's crazy. My goodness. And all of this under the guise of Christianity and loving the Lord. This is why I can't do organized religion, because they always use it to justify bullshit every single time. It never ever fails. And it's always to the detriment of women. If I could find a religion, if I could find a church that really put women first, or at least treated us like equals, like humans, like we deserve to have thoughts, lives of our own, I would join. I would go to it. I'm like, hell, I might get sucked into a cult. That's a lady's first cult. But all these other religions, Christianity, Muslim, Catholicism, goddamn Hindus and shit, like everybody is women second, pimps up, hoes down. I hate it. I'm not gonna do it with y'all. It drives me insane. And look at the abuse that it fosters. Like, there can never be a time where you elevate one group above the other and that other group does not become the oppressor. It doesn't matter if you're your own family. You elevated the men, you gave the men carte blanche. Like, it doesn't matter what they do, it's right, and they're the right hand of the Lord and all of this. So look, if he slapped you, he slapped you. If he raped you, hey, you might have had to come. What'd you have on? How was you acting? Were you being suggestive? It's never gonna work out. And I don't understand why people don't see that. And what I really don't understand is how modern women, like, I get it in the earlier times without technology and the internet and all this, but I don't get how modern women get sucked into these situations. And I really, really can only attribute it to you're broken, you're searching, and this is something that you thought, it just seemed easy. It seemed like a fix-all. Because there's no way you could sign up for some shit like that. Ain't no way. Like, the whole reason they even got the show and got the opportunity is because when Jim Bob ran for Senate, he lost, but a journalist took a picture of him and his family all dressed alike, all matching, you know, all the kids behind him like ducks. And it went like the 90s version of viral, and TLC was buying Discovery was buying TLC, whatever, and they reached out to them and they gave them a special, and it just turned into all that success. So without your family, you would not be interested. You would not have even got this opportunity. People were watching it because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody was interested in what Jim Bob had going on. And then, of course, you became more successful because you had money and you could do all these different business opportunities. And even like the house that they were living in was basically paid for and finished by TLC for them agreeing to sign on and do the show. So none of this, even you being able to provide for and take care of this family, is on your own accord. Because you had them living poor as hell. And then Jim Bob grew up poor too, so it's not like he really had a good gauge of how people should be living anyways. But still, it's like you would not have none of this without your family. And for you to scam them and not pay them, even the older kids, not have to set any money aside for them for their own lives, especially given the fact that you knew that you raised them a certain way and they was going to be out in the world and have a bunch of kids like you. Like 9 times out of 10, they was going to be living like you, so they were going to need that money just like you needed that money, and you ended up getting on this show. It doesn't make no sense. Scam on scam. And for you to do it to your own children, I can't imagine what you've done to other people. I really can't. I wouldn't be surprised if years down the line some more abuse allegations and stuff don't come out. And eventually, because of the class action I was talking to you about with Bill Gothard, they oust him. They remove him from the website. They get him out the group. He gets dragged out of a IBOP meeting like a criminal. And they just go on with the church and his principles without him. Like, he is not the person. Like, this was not his brainchild. And the whole homeschool thing, crazy, because they're not teaching these kids the real education that they need to survive and be successful out in the world. Like, none of it was preparing them for college leadership and life. All right, it was indoctrination paperwork. Even one of the girls said, it took for me to be older and like go to real school that I realized it had a lot of racism and misogyny in the education. So you're raising the kids up, and that's a thorough brainwash though. I can't lie to you. And I think because of everything that happened with the education and stuff and the potential lawsuits that they say now is like a supplement, like they act like that wasn't a full program, but it really was. And then they had those little camps, like they said it was in a hotel or something, and they had converted the hotel that they got for free from the government to try to do good work in the cities. Just watch the documentary. If you watched it already, let's talk about it in the comments. I really need somebody to talk to this about, because I'm watching all this stuff. I'm in a rabbit hole of it on YouTube right now. My mind is really blown. I don't know why I'm shocked though, because all religious people, like, I just don't trust them. They're not trustworthy people to me. Like, there's always something, there's an underlying cause for them being so saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. You got to keep your eye on them people. And just, look, Jim Bob and them, it was a money play to me. And you scammed your own kids. You scammed your own grandkids. Because all of them should be wealthy. All of them should be fine for the rest of their lives. They were on that show for years. The show is about the kids. It's not even about y'all. So how you feel entitled to keep all of that money and to even try to play them like they don't deserve it, like they're wrong for asking. Wild. I hope that the kids that are out like really find peace and get therapy and figure out a way to be as their version of normal. And I hope they sue that man. I really do, because I guess the laws and stuff weren't in their favor at the time. Like I said, there's no Coogan account and laws and all of that for reality TV kids, which there should be, but I feel like maybe they can be the head of that change if they receive the right information and maybe get the right help. Maybe somebody that saw Shiny Happy People can figure out a way, a litigious person, because Jim Bob, he owes them kids money, and I feel like all of them need to sue, but they probably won't, because that indoctrination is deep, boy. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching this. And if you know of any other cool culty documentaries I should watch and we can talk about here, let me know in the comments. I'll watch them. We can talk about them together. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day. Peace out.